to be financing to get it. If we're at 10, you know, if they're at 11 deals and we're at 20 deals, if it's 20 regular EDT, 11 finance has us beat. So even if we're on the board, like looking at Copilot, like, oh, we're up by 3 sales, like, if we're not financing, they're going to beat us. So
100%.
you need to make sure we're financing, and then you can scroll down to your incentive level. So your prize is $1,500 if you're under 20. So if you're between like 20 and 25, you get $1,500. If it's over 25, then you get $2,500. But it's going to be average. So if Corey doesn't hit 23, you're not going to get your incentive because they average the past 2 months. So so Nate, you need to hit at least 36.
Yeah.
Matt 26. Sebastian 28. Right.
And so you have to.
How does Zach finesse this? That's a typo. Unless they really like Zach. But yeah, does that make sense to everybody?
That's the 15.
So like you have to. It doesn't matter. So last month it was like how many? Sorry, last year it was how many installs you got. This year it doesn't matter how many installs you get. It matters how many points you get. So for example, like if I did like every single deal financed, I would only have to hit 18 deals next month. Or I could do it like 9 times 2 is 18. 36 minus 18. So I would have to hit 9 financed and 18 regulars. So 9 plus 18. So I have to hit 27 with no. That's installs, right? So I do 18 regulars, which is 18 points, plus 9 finance, which is another 18 points, for a total of 36.
7 finance deals.
Too many confused faces. You guys understand or no?
Yeah.
What is finance? Okay.
Good to hear, sure.
All right, nice. So I can screenshot this and send it out. I would recommend you have like a notes tab. And like every time you sell, like keep track of your notes, and because that's going to be happening every day. Like we need to be selling pretty much every day. Like we want it to be not normal if we're not selling. That should be kind of the expectation. So have a look at your numbers, divide it up however you need to. Yeah, Zach, 15.
I think it's just because my last month was so bad. I think he just threw the numbers off.
I did.
So 20 points is what most of us need. 20 points. So if you hit 20, that would be $1,500. Okay. Anything above 26 is going to be $2,500. So think about something that you would buy for 2.5 bands. And then visualize that with the ring, with the top office, with like all that stuff that we were just posting up.
Remember what Chick said, it needs to be an item. So you can't just sell one. Yeah.
Can I get like a new transmission for my truck?
Yeah, it costs $1,500 for rookies too. You get the $2,500 scholarship bonus, and then if you get this, it's either $2,500 or $1,500, which is an extra like almost $5,000.
$4,000 to $5,000
on your back end, which is nuts.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
So rookies, make sure you're pushing for that.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm just gonna let you guys know, for each of back ends, every week that you bagel, guess what doesn't get taken?
Rent.
And gas. So don't bagel, because then what's gonna happen on your back end?
It's gonna get
money, right? No, it's not gonna. This isn't Section 8 housing, right? So
on a positive note, everyone that's hitting above 15 funded every month is getting 3 of their 4 weeks refunded back to them on their back end as rent bonus. So you guys are hitting 15 installs in a month. So up here, there were some rookies down here that hit it. Seb,
Big
Matt,
Big Corey.
So Matt, Seb, Corey. As long as Corey stays clean, so they have to be clean by October. So yeah, if they stay clean, you guys are getting whatever. How much you guys pay? 185.
So you get 400 back. That's what it is.
Oh yeah. What is it? 400
back. So when you hit rent bonus, it's 400 back.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, cool. We just got numbers done. Sales rule. Cam, what you got, Cam?
Got it right here.
Read it.
Moving program. You should never secure a customer that plans on moving within 1 year of installation. Any customer that moves before the 1 year, any customer that moves before the February reconciliation will result in a $250 fee, regardless of situation. Keep in mind, customer may not communicate their intention to move, but the cost and the loss associated with this type of customer is incurred, nothing less. If customer is reinstalled during season, old account will be canceled, and new account will be paid on.
Oh God.
There's a special movers program and a special movers number. So if you guys do have a mover, just text it out, especially if it's outside of the 3 months.
Or the app, they can do it through the app.
Yeah, you can.
Y'all should 100%
Yeah.
get them done now. It's that time of year, just get it in.
Worry about that later.
Just kidding.
Hey, you're gonna use the same one.
Who won the shoes?
Matt, you got a thought?
My thought is for everyone over this next month, find routine, find some schedule, stick to it, because even when I feel like shit, if I just go through the motions, I get through it at the end of the day, walk the knot, turns out good, can turn the entire day around, and one day can turn the entire week around. So stick to your routine and get comfortable with it.
Let's go, man.
Michael Penis.
Like, what do you think?
Wait, what's he supposed to?
Thankful for having doors to knock. Definitely. Thankful for everybody else. It keeps everybody going. Definitely thankful for that. And thankful Cam got the speeding ticket, not me.
I'm thankful for anybody and everybody.
All right.
Colin,
do you want
college
to
dollars.
Kyle, do you want us to get into the training or?
Yeah.
Colin has to.
I'll just deduct it out to pay. Let's hear Keith pitch. How do we, like he's ready?
I want to hear recording.
Airdrop?
Huh?
Airdrop?
It's not working.
Thanks.
What happened?
Are you
I need to
Record it.
dog.
And just shit.
Yeah.
See the dog? It's so
Chill, bro.
Y'all
Y'all ready to win some rings? So, yesterday Chicks was basically saying, hey, we need to get back to the basics. So, I think that's super important, especially at a time right now, is just go back to the very basics, go back to the fundamentals of everything that we've learned. It's kind of hard to apply advanced techniques when we're not doing the basics or getting the fundamentals, right? So what I did, but this is something that I read when I first started. I read like the psychology of selling, like a bunch of sales books. So what I did was kind of take like a deep dive back, watch some podcasts, watch some interviews and stuff, just to get some basics and fundamentals down again. So then that way we can kind of just start from square one and build off of that. So when you look at sales, sales is an art and a science. It's, a lot of people say like, oh, there's no secret to selling, or there's like a secret to selling, and I think it's true. I think a good way to look at it is it's kind of like a stock. So stocks are constantly rising or constantly falling, right? There's no neutral. It's the exact same with sales, especially during your presentation. You're either doing something that's going to be helping you or hurting you, right? So like at the end of the day, when we're all just kind of lounging around, is that like helping us get better, or is that hurting us? Is that helping us rise, or is that helping us fall? You can always be doing something to keep rising, and there's always something that you can do more, continue to train on and get better at, right? So there's five important things in a presentation when it comes to sales. Number one is clarity, right? So you want to make it very clear what you're doing, why you're doing it, what you're there for. A confused mind always says no, right? So one, you got to keep it simple, right? And if we break it down to the very basics, it's sign, system, advertising, right? That's really all it is. Like we can throw all these fancy words in there, we can throw all this fancy stuff in there, but at the end of the day, it's sign. We're getting the sign in the yard, we're paying for the system, and we get advertising because of that, right? So when we go back to the basics, the more simple, the better. It's easier for the customer to understand when you're just pitching like very simply. And And then you want them to make sure they understand why and what you're doing, right? Number 2 is energy. The amount of energy you put in determines the outcome, right? So if we're going up to the door and we're just like, hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. They're just like, no. Like, you know, it's just a waste of their time and it's a waste of our time too. At the end of the day, this is our time for us to make money. Like a lot of us, this is our job, this is what we do, this is how we support and provide for our families or whatever it is that you're doing, whatever the reason is that you're out here, this is the time where you go and you do that, right? So if your why and more importantly like who you're doing it for, if that's strong enough, the results will follow with that. So it's like if you're doing this to help pay your mom's bills or if you're doing this to get a new car or fix something, like how much time and energy are you willing to put into that to get that reward, right? If you don't, I mean, a lot of people like, oh, you want to take your parents on vacation or pay some of your mom's bills, like, yeah, that's great, but how much are you willing to sacrifice and put in to make that possible and make that happen, right? Because if you're just putting in bare-ass minimum effort, a lot of those things aren't going to come true, they're not going to come to fruition if you're just putting in the bare minimum, right? And then prospects say yes based more on your attitude, belief, and conviction than your product knowledge and your technical skills. So yeah, we could know the system like the back of our hand. Hey, the cameras do this, the cameras do that. But really what they're buying at the end of the day, they're buying you. And then they most likely will buy the product because they bought you, right? So when they feel the attitude, the belief, and the conviction that one, you speak with, and two, that you're showing them, that's going to sell the customer way more than the camera recording 24/7 or them being able to see it from their phone, right? Yes, we do sell a good product, but at the end of the day, what we're selling is, one, ourselves, most importantly, two, we're selling them the peace of mind, not that a camera can record every second of the day, right? Now, a good way for you to do this is obviously excitement and enthusiasm are contagious. So, like Mike was saying last week, like when they ask, hey, what's the price? Oh, that's the best part. Let me show you how this works. If you're like, oh, yeah, well, the price is $69. It's like, okay. But like if you actually get excited and you're transferring that through to your customer, that makes it a lot, they feel that, and then they want to keep going, right? They feed off of your energy. So the common denominator in every sale that any of us have ever made, there's only one common denominator in that, and that's us, right? We are helping the customer make the decision of protecting their home and family, right? It's like holding a baby's hand when you're walking down the street. You're leading them into making a good decision for themselves and their family, right? So a good way to keep that excitement and the enthusiasm going throughout the day is self-talk, positive self-talk, and affirmations, right? If you're just constantly feeding into your mind all of the things that you're doing wrong throughout the entire day, you're paralyzing yourself in fear, self-doubt, oh, I'm not doing this right. But focus on the things, and I think that's a big thing. I do that a lot when I'm doing really bad. I'm like, oh, well, I'm not doing this. Oh, I'm not doing that. And then it's like, you make it, at least for myself, make it to where like I don't even want to knock sometimes because I'm like so paralyzed by the self-doubt of myself that it makes it almost impossible for me to do the job or even want to go and talk to somebody, right? Now, if we were to flip that, and you know, you have the positive self-talk, hey, well, you know, that would, maybe I didn't get the sale, but I did everything I could. I put all of my effort and all of everything I could into that person. Some people buy it, some people don't. At the end of the day, not everybody's going to buy what we're doing. Not everybody's going to want it, but that's okay, because there's going to be another family out there that we need to help protect, right? So, positive self-talk and affirmation, the inner dialogue you have with yourself will lead you to be contagious throughout the day. Enthusiasm, the spirit you have within, so that's like that fire, the drive that you have. 51% of a sales presentation is enthusiasm, right? So 51% of that is just the energy that you're giving off from, I mean, we have so many things to drive us right now. There's so much money to make this month. There's so many things that we're doing this for. Personal, team. We all want rings. Everybody wants to make an extra $1,500, $2,500 on their back end. We have so many things that drive us, but more importantly than the money, than the rings, than all of that, is the relationships within the team, right? At the end of the day, we are a team. Yeah, it is our personal sales, but these relationships that we're building now last forever. It's the money comes and goes, right? Like you go to the gas station, you spend the money, it's like it's nothing, right? But like the relationship that I've built with Mike, with Caleb, with Nate, with other guys in this room too, like I know at any time now in the off season, whenever, I can just call them up and say, hey, I have this and this going on, I need help, or hey, let's go do this, like let's go do that. And I know like that those guys will always be there for me, and that's because of the relationships that we've created within this job. I know if I go to California, I have a place to stay. If I go to South Carolina, I have a place to stay, right? It's the relationships that are going to last, and that's honestly at the end of the day, that's what is most important with this. The belief that you have within yourself. The best salesman shines with conviction. When you speak with conviction in your voice, people feel that and they feed off of that. They have an absolute belief about themselves, their product and their service, right? A salesman has to sell himself on himself before he can sell anybody else, right? So you have to know, hey, I'm doing this for a reason. I'm the best at what I do for these reasons here, right? So you have to sell yourself on yourself before you can even go and sell anybody else. Do you really believe in yourself? Do you believe the words you're saying? Do you believe in the product that you're selling? Do you believe in the service that you're providing? Right? And that sometimes can be the hardest sale, is selling yourself on yourself. Right? Now, a good way to do that is obviously going back to the self-talk, the affirmation, knowing what you're doing it for, who you're doing it for, why you're doing it. That can help fuel you in becoming a good salesman. Now, service. At the end of the day, we are providing a service for people, protecting what matters most. This is important. What we're doing is very important. We're providing a service that can potentially save our customers or their families' lives, right? People aren't just buying it because it's a good deal. They're not buying it because they're saving money on their home insurance. They're buying it because it's providing a peace of mind. It's providing them with the sense of security. As humans, we all have a natural instinct to want security. And the biggest thing that these people stress about, and this is any family, when the man's at work, who do you think he's thinking about? His wife, his kids. That's who he's thinking about. He's at work to provide for them, right? So when he's at work and he's providing for them, what does he want? He wants to make sure that they're okay. He wants to make sure that they have that security. Nobody wants anything bad happening to the people that they love, right? So these are the things that you have to sell yourself on in order for you to go and sell other people on it, right? Focusing on the 5 fundamentals while you're knocking, being clear. People react to the range of your voice, the volume, the diction, even when they don't understand the words, right? So, I mean, we don't expect everybody to be like, oh, knowing what like cellular services or what this does or what that does, but at the end of the day, it's not what you're saying, how you're saying it sometimes, it's just making sure that the customers understand and believe that. How do you make them feel when you say those things, right? So that's more important than what you're saying at the end of the day, is how you're saying it and how you're making that person feel when you say that, right? Obviously, this is a very emotional-based selling, and most people buy based off of emotion, and then they defend their decision with logic, right? So if you get the customer emotionally involved, you get them emotionally attached in what we're doing, and then they're going to defend whatever decision that they're making with logic. It's just like when they say no. They're defending it with logic because they don't want to add another monthly bill, or that the economy is doing bad, or whatever it is. They're defending it logically because they don't have enough emotion tied to it. Now, if we can flip that on the flip side, and they are emotionally bought into what we're doing, and then they defend their decision with logic, like, yes, this is a good decision to protect my home and family, right? This is worth the money. You're defending that decision with logic. So 55% of communication is body language, which is tied to your energy and your enthusiasm. 38% of it is tonality, so not what you're saying, but how you're saying it. And 7% of that is the actual words that you're using, right? So, obviously, a bigger piece than what the actual words that we're saying is one, the body language, so, and then two, the tonality and how we're saying it. That's why we can put 22 people out in the field and you'll have 3 people who are doing extremely well, and then you'll have some people who are, mediocre, and then some people who just aren't doing good. Because we're all saying the exact same things. We might say them a little bit differently, but it's more importantly how you say it, and more importantly than that, how that makes the customer feel. You're a representation for the way that the buyer feels. For the way that they feel about your product and your service. You have to be genuine, real, and find common ground with the customer in order for them to like you. If they buy you, they'll most likely buy your product. And then it's not what you say or even how you say it, it's how you can make the families that you're serving feel, right? So at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're doing a service. We're serving our customers with a service, right? We're doing them a favor, right? We don't have to be at their door. We don't have to give them the good deal. We don't have to do any of that, right? And that's why it's important to have the mindset of, hey, look, if they don't want it, so what? There's hundreds and thousands of other people out there who will get it, right? So when you're getting, upset because that one person told you no, or you're getting upset because they told you I want to think it over, so what? Go to the next one. Go try to get somebody else. Because if you just keep